disaster management. In disaster management, if you look at paper 3, right from 2013, when disaster management as a topic made an appearance, till 2020, you find every year there's a question with about 15 and sometimes 20 marks. So that's around either 150 or 250 words, depending upon whether it's 10 or 15 marks question. You are getting a detailed analysis about what is disaster management, what are the various aspects of disaster management, and in some instances, they are giving you specific cases of how to manage the disasters. So, for example, what has started off with what is the concept of disaster management, which is purely your definition. Then, what are the other processes or the other literature which is associated with disaster management, the procedures, and then you come to specific conditions, like they've asked you a question of how to manage a disaster like tsunami. They've asked you to manage a specific disaster like earthquake, urban flooding. And from what I feel after going through what has happened is that you might be getting a question either on cyclones or urban flooding oblique cloudburst, or they might ask you to deal with one of the biggest disasters which history has seen so far, which is your COVID disaster. And COVID is being treated as a disaster and as a pandemic. So they might ask you the economic repercussions of it, along with how will you manage if you were in charge at a particular level to go about it. If you look at the history of disaster management, none of this needs to be going as notes. It's just simply for your knowledge. If you look at the history of disaster management, the concept is not new. In about 3200 BC, while the Indus Valley civilization was flourishing in India, there was another civilization which flourished on the banks of the Tigris and the Euphrates, और जिसको अभी आप इराक की तरह समझते हैं, उसको पुराने जमाने में मेसोपोटामिया कहा जाता था. So all those students of history and all those who are preparing for civil services and reading ancient history would know that the Mesopotamian civilization is one of those very biggest achieving civilizations along with Indus Valley. And Mesopotamia, there were a group of people who were called the Asaipu. It is ASIPU. Now, the Asaipus were people to whom the community approached whenever they felt threatened by certain circumstances. And the Asaipu would tell them of the various alternatives that were available and what were the outcomes of those alternatives and how much risk the community could take and what would be the consequences. So from there, the concept of disaster management started. And then as early as the period from 1817 to 1722, you had an emperor or a pharaoh who was an Egyptian ruler by the name of Amen, E.M. Hate the third. I will write his name. This is good knowledge, if not anything else. The board's giving me trouble, so please bear with me for 2 minutes. So there was a pharaoh by the name of, I'm sorry, the board's not working. Anyways, we've tried very hard. I can't take too much of your time. I don't know how to be able to proceed with this, but there was a pharaoh by the name of, why is this happening? One is not. Okay, so there was this pharaoh by the name of Amen M. Het the third, who constructed about 200 wheels to cycle out the flood waters of the River Nile. And this he's done in the period 1722. And out of those 200 wheels, some of these wheels are still available. And he was able to flush out the water from the Nile and reclaim about 1,53,000 hectares of land in Egypt. अगर आप मॉडर्न डे डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट के लॉज को देखने की कोशिश करेंगे तो इनके रूट्स आपको सिविल डिफेंस एक्ट में मिलेंगे. एंड द फर्स्ट कंट्री टू डू दिस वाज ग्रेट ब्रिटेन, who in 1948 substituted its first Civil Defense Act, and from there they made the Disaster Management Act. Now, for us, like countries like India, the first and the earliest attempt was made by the United Nations, and the United Nations in 1987 decided to declare a decade for natural disaster management system. So they wanted to make the earth safe and free from disasters. So in 1987, they decided that the 1990s would be a decade for नेचुरल डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट. अब इसको नेचुरल समझिएगा, नेशनल नहीं, इट वाज नेचुरल डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट. एंड देन देयर वाज अ समिट कॉल्ड द योकोलामा समिट. योकोलामा समिट, योकोलामा इज अ प्लेस इन जापान, एंड योकोहामा में इन्होंने ये समिट करी in May 1994, where they decided that now disaster management as an important tool for the international community should be implemented in each and every country. Reason being, a lot of the countries of the world were repeatedly under the influence of drought or floods. And in those times, they were also, and even today, there were a lot of cyclones like the hurricanes, which still keep affecting America from time and again. Then there are man-made disasters, like, for example, war, which keeps happening in different parts of the country. So to mitigate the losses which occur from these disasters, it was decided that each country will have its own natural disaster management plan. और इसी के तहत इंडिया ने 2005 में अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर अपना नेचुरल डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट प्लान बनाया. ऑफ कोर्स, coming to 2006, it formally advocated its national disaster management plan unit also. But first and foremost, it started under the Ministry of Agriculture. और Ministry of Agriculture के बाद जब हमने अपना National Disaster Management Plan banaya, then it started functioning under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So for students, it's an important journey from the Ministry of Agriculture, जहाँ पे natural disaster management हो रहा था, to what is now called the National Disaster Management Plan, which we are now able to see. Now, first and foremost, I want to tell you that in all these in the entire lecture today, we are going to do some very important definitions, and those definitions are the important part. क्योंकि यदि वो आपको मान लीजिए कोई भी concept इससे related देंगे, तो आपके पास ये definition एकदम exact होनी चाहिए, otherwise your answer will be incomplete. So today we are going to try and get a conceptual clarity about what is a disaster, what is disaster management, what are the risks, the vulnerabilities in disaster management, and what is the pre-phase and the post-phase for disaster. This is the task for today. For specific cases, I will be taking it tomorrow because I want to make this skeleton. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं आपको एक एक डिजास्टर के बारे में पढ़ा सकती हूँ, that's not possible. But अगर आपके पास conceptual clarity आ गई, तो आप कोई भी डिजास्टर लेकर के उसको डिफाइन करके और उसके मैनेजमेंट प्रोसेस में क्या क्या चीजें रिक्वायर्ड है वो आप आसानी से लिख पाएंगे. इसीलिए आज हम सिर्फ डेफिनेशंस पर ध्यान देते हैं. And as we go into the details, if there is a problem, please write your remarks beneath. I'm so sorry about the board part, but unfortunately, I'm not able to fix it because this is not cancelling. अगर ये cancel हो जाता तब तो ठीक था, but वो cancel ही नहीं हो रहा है और वो, so the minute I'm trying to write, this still keeps on being there. So if you are lucky, we might be able to write something a little later. So to come to what is a disaster. So a disaster is a serious disruption in the functioning of a society. So first and foremost is that there is a disruption to the society. और जैसे जैसे आप disaster के बारे में पढ़ते जाएंगे, आप please जो अभी COVID-19 की situation है, जो first उसका phase था और जो उसके second phase है, दोनों को ध्यान में रखिए तो आपको हर एक चीज को समझने में ज्यादा आसानी होगी. I'll keep referring to other disasters which have also taken place, but this one, because it is still alive, you will be able to appreciate it better. So a disaster is a serious disruption of the functioning of society, causing widespread human, material, or environmental losses which exceed the ability of the affected society to cope using only its own resources. तो डिजास्टर इस प्रकार का एक इवेंट है जो कि ऐसी प्रक्रिया करता है कि पूरी सोसाइटी में तहस नहस मच जाती है. There is a disruption. There's a disruption in the normal functioning of the society. You cannot use the word normal at all because this exceeds the level of any kind of normal existence. So a disaster is a disruption of the functioning of society, which causes widespread human, material, or environmental losses which exceed the ability of the affected society to cope using only its own resources. तो सबसे पहले आपके कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डिजास्टर में क्या आ गया? फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट आपके डिजास्टर में जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है वो है सीरियस डिस्ट्रप्शन टू द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ सोसाइटी. तो फर्स्ट इज serious disruption to the functioning of society. Second, a cause of widespread human, material, or environmental losses. So there is a serious disruption to the functioning of society, and then there are a whole lot of losses. It can be in terms of life, property, or the environment. The other part is that it exceeds the ability of humans to cope with it. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि जो भी चीज उस सोसाइटी के पास अवेलेबल है इन टर्म्स ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, इट इज नॉट एबल टू कोप अप विथ इट. फॉर एग्जांपल, कोविड सिचुएशन में ऑक्सीजन की मात्रा की जो जरूरत थी, वो ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर्स हमारी कंट्री के पास पूरी तरह से नहीं थे. इस वजह से जो डिसरप्शन हुई हमारी सोसाइटी में, उसको हम कोप अप नहीं कर पा रहे थे. And that is why COVID is now being termed as a disaster. We are trying to mitigate the disaster of the writing board. I just hope that we will be able to do it. Okay, so disaster is anything which causes a serious disruption. This writing board is also a disaster, but this is at a personal level. There's a serious disruption to society. One is that. Secondly, it causes losses. And the most important part is that the society is not able to cope with the losses. So, a disaster is a serious disruption of the functioning of society, causing widespread human, material, or environmental losses, and the ability of the society to cope with those events are not available, so that it results in oh god, this is just too bad. Yeah, I'm not going to teach anything. Chalo. It's not even working. Okay, is it better? I really don't know. I'm just so lost with this. So shall we try again? A disaster is a serious disruption to the functioning of society, causing widespread human, material, environmental losses, which exceed the ability of the affected society to cope using only its own resources. So there's a disruption to the functioning of society, point number one. Point number two, it causes widespread human, material, and environmental losses. Point number 3, this exceeds the ability of the affected society to cope using its own resources. So there's a disruption, there's a loss, there is a lack of ability to cope up with those losses. These are the 3 most important points of a disaster. अब आपको कोई भी disaster दे दिया जाए, चाहे COVID दे दिया जाए, चाहे cloud burst दे दिया जाए, चाहे cyclone दे दिया जाए, your parameter for definition will include this cyclone is considered to be a disaster because it resulted in the disruption of the people of Orissa. Abhi jo aapka latest hua tha cyclone resulted in the disruption of the normal life of the people of Orissa living in the coastal areas, leading to a loss of huge amounts of property and environmental losses, where the shoreline was totally degraded and it lacked the ability for the society to be able to cope with it under normal circumstances. So this is the definition of a disaster. The word disaster comes from the Latin word, which is dis and astro. Disastro. This is a Latin root word. जहां से ये word आता है disastro, इसका मतलब है away from the stars. The Latin root word disastro, which means away from the stars, which means that the configuration of the stars is such that it is not, it will lead only to losses. So it is an unfortunate astrological configuration. This is just for your knowledge. You don't have to write it. If you want to write it, you can just write that it comes from the Latin root word disastro, which means an unfortunate configuration of stars. Now, when does a disaster occur? So we have first and foremost said that the concept of disaster management started जब आपके पेपर में 2013 में आया, तो उससे कुछ 10 साल पहले हमारे यहाँ इसके बारे में चर्चा हुई. चर्चा का रीजन ये था, I'm going back because we have faltered on several steps. I said the concept of disaster management is not new. It started in 2000 and 2300 BC when the Aispu people, who were a part of the Mesopotamian civilization, started giving advice to people in times of danger as to what are the risks and what are the consequences. And then in 1722 came a pharaoh by the name of Amenhotep III, who made 200 wheels and reclaimed about 153,000 hectares of land and stopped and controlled the flooding of the Nile River. अब वहां से जब हमारे यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने देखा कि वाइड स्प्रेड ह्यूमन लॉस हो रहा है, मटीरियल लॉस हो रहा है और एनवायरमेंटल लॉस हो रहा है, तो 1987 में यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने डिसाइड किया कि वो एक डेकेड डिक्लेयर करेंगे. डेकेड मतलब 10 साल का पीरियड डिक्लेयर करेंगे जिसमें वो नेचुरल डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट स्टार्ट करेंगे. एंड देन इंडिया स्टार्टेड विथ इट्स नेचुरल डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट प्रोग्राम under the Ministry of Agriculture. That was then. Now the disaster management program is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. And then I told you that first and foremost, what is the definition of disaster? The definition of disaster is a serious disruption in the functioning of society, causing widespread human, material, or environmental losses which exceed the ability of the affected society to cope using only its own resources. The word disaster comes from the Latin two words dis astro, which means an unfortunate configuration of stars. That means that it is a negative configuration of stars, जिसकी वजह से ये सारे problem होते हैं. This is the summary, and we can think that we have started the class from here. After the disastrous writing board episode. Okay, disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized. आप इसको please लिखिए. इसको समझने में और पढ़ने में बहुत टाइम लगता है और आप disaster को कभी खुशी खुशी नहीं पढ़ पाएंगे. You will always be very bored with the topic, but for purposes of those 10 or 15 marks which you're going to get, you must learn each and every definition. Not only that, You should have a very clear conception about each and every word which comes as a part of the disaster management program. So I repeat, disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized. So I'm saying that disaster occurs when a hazard risk, और अब आपको ये चाहिए होगा, hazard risk is realized. Realized मतलब वो हो जाती है. इसमें क्या क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है? Hazard, risk and the realization. So when does a disaster occur? A disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized. अब इसको जब आप पढ़ते हैं तो इसके साथ साथ आपको एक caveat apply करना चाहिए. What is a caveat? Caveat in normal course is when we go to the court. Suppose a party is going against us. We appeal to the court that our voice should be heard before you hear the case. So we should be given an opportunity to speak before the party is making an ex party kind of an appeal to the court, and therefore our voice should be heard. So caveat हम इस definition के संग एक qualifying remark डालेंगे कि to this definition of disaster, that it must overwhelm the response capability of a community. It should. When we say that disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized, और hazard और risk के लिए मत परेशान होइए क्योंकि उसकी definition आगे मैं आपको बता रही हूँ. But disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized, and whenever we make this statement, we must qualify it with a caveat, which is the caveat is that it overwhelms the response capability of a community. जब हम ये कहेंगे कि overwhelms the response capability of a community, तो इसका मतलब वही है जो शुरुआत में कहा गया कि the community is not able to cope with the event from the existing resources which are there. So it overwhelms the response capability of a community. So we are not able to handle that disaster because of a lack of capability, either in terms of resources or in terms of knowledge or in terms of technology, whatever be the reason, but we do not have a response which addresses the event or the disaster. So again, I will go back. Disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized. Hazard risk क्या है ये मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, but आप अभी इसको रटेंगे. When a hazard risk is realized, and whenever we make the statement regarding the disaster, we have to qualify it or we have to address it with a caveat that it overwhelms the response capability of a community. मतलब community उस disaster को cope up नहीं कर पा रही है. It lacks the coping ability to meet that disaster. Now I'm going into this. I hope that the board still works. Otherwise, that will be another disaster. Okay. So the disaster has to be qualified with the comment that the response capability of the community is overwhelmed. मतलब वो incapable है इस disaster event को face करने के लिए. अब disaster कैसे कैसे arise होता है? There are two different ways in which you can think of the origin of a disaster. So disaster on the basis of causes are of two kinds. One is your natural disaster, and the other is your anthropogenic disaster. Anthropogenic disaster. So on the basis of causes, what are the causes of disasters? Disasters can be divided into two. One is your natural and the other is your anthropogenic disaster. अब natural में तो we will come later, but anthropogenic को आप पहले देख लीजिए. Anthropogenic disaster means all those disasters which are man-made. अब इस डिमार्केशन में कोई कोई प्रॉब्लम आती है, जैसे फ्लडिंग ऐसे तो नेचुरल डिजास्टर है कि कहीं भी कोई रिवर ज्यादा पानी से भर गई तो इट्स अ नेचुरल डिजास्टर, बट समटाइम्स इट्स मैन मेड. जैसे आपका अगर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम सॉलिड, आपका सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट खराब है, आपकी ड्रेनेज सिस्टम चोकअप हो गई, so somewhere the humans are also responsible for it. So they are blurred lines, but mota mota, this is the division. And when you write it like that, that will also be correct. But basically, anthropogenic factors are those which arise in disasters of war. जहां हम आपस में झगड़ा करते हैं, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू लुक एट इजराइल, इफ यू लुक एट पैलेस्टीन, यहाँ पे हर समय डिजास्टर है. इट्स अ परमानेंट वॉर जोन. If you look at Syria, these are countries, or if you look at Sudan, Sudan mein aaj the military government has taken over. So what does that mean? That people are at war, and the common man is not able to cope up with that calamity. So therefore, a war situation is an anthropogenic disaster. Another kind of anthropogenic disaster is a biological warfare. जहां पे कि अभी कोविड-19 को कहा जाता है, and you cannot please write this anywhere, but it is said that the virus is man-made. So sometimes we use such approaches to bring down our enemies, especially in terms of defense. So biological warfare or wars are your anthropogenic factors. Now we will talk about the natural disasters. Natural disasters में आपके पास बहुत तरह करके जियोफिजिकल, क्लाइमेटोलॉजिकल, meteorological, hydraulic, और इन सब के एग्जाम्पल्स मैं आपको बताती जा रही हूँ. So your geophysical will be something like your volcanoes. It will be your earthquakes. फिर आपका हो गया हाइड्रोलॉजिकल. हाइड्रोलॉजिकल होगी आपकी अवलांचेस. इसमें आपके फ्लड्स भी आ गए. फिर क्लाइमेटोलॉजिकल आपका हो गया एक्सट्रीम टेम्परेचर, ड्राउट. इसमें आपके वाइल्ड फायर्स भी हो गए. फिर मीटियोलॉजिकल, जैसे आपके साइक्लोन्स एंड स्टॉर्म्स. So based on causes, we are dividing disasters either as natural or anthropogenic. Anthropogenic is your war, your biological warfare. Natural will include geophysical like volcanoes and earthquakes. Climatological like extreme temperature, drought or wildfire. Meteorological जिसमें आपके cyclones और storms हैं. Hydraulic जिसमें आपके avalanches and floods हैं. These are your and biological. अब बायोलॉजिकल में आपके यहाँ क्या आ गई? डिजीजेस, जिसमें आपके एपिडेमिक्स भी आते हैं. तो अभी आप जैसे देख रहे हैं कि यूपी में डेंगू बहुत फैला हुआ है. इनफैक्ट डेंगू इज देयर इन महाराष्ट्र आल्सो. So that is a disease spread. It can be an epidemic, or you have examples of plague in Surat long time back because of rats. That is also an epidemic. So your biological causes can be your diseases. So that is another kind of a disaster. Disasters can have both there's something called disaster damage. And there is something called disaster impact. पहला वाला आप देखिए डिजास्टर डैमेज. जो डिजास्टर डैमेज होता है that is always in terms of physical units. So these are your physical measuring units. Like for example, you will be talking about that during floods, about 100 houses were swept away. So your 100 houses is a measurement of your disaster damage. Or about 1,000 hectares of land got eroded. So that is again a physical measure. क्या आप बताएंगे कि about 250 kilometers of road was damaged because of the floods or because of the rain. So that again is a physical unit. तो जब भी आप disaster damage के बारे में बात करेंगे, आप physical units में बात करेंगे, और जब आप disaster impact के बारे में बात करेंगे, then you will be talking disaster impact in terms of economics. You will be talking in terms of environment. You will be talking in terms of injury, death, and disease. Today, you will have to learn each and every nomenclature, because without nomenclature, you will not be able to do disaster management. So the first and foremost is there is a concept of जब भी कोई disaster होता है तो कुछ damage होता है जिसको आप physical unit में measure करते हैं. तो या तो आप उसको centimeters या kilometers या numbers, उसको कोई आप number देते हैं. आप जब डिजास्टर इम्पैक्ट की बात करते हैं तो यू आर टॉकिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स. मतलब इतने ज्यादा जीडीपी का लॉस हुआ और सो मेनी हाउस होल्ड सफर्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ दीज नंबर ऑफ रुपीज. दैट इज योर इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट. और हाउ मेनी पीपल came below the poverty line as a result of the COVID situation and the lockdown. That is the economic impact. The second is your environmental impact. So your environmental impact will be so many hectares of land got submerged underwater, or so many forests were set afire, and so there was a loss of forest cover to this extent. Then we talk in terms of injury, death, and disease. What was the spread? So that is the impact of the disaster. Of course, there are certain things which you cannot measure, but we do talk about it, which is the social, mental, and emotional well-being of the individual as it experiences the disaster. That is also a part of disaster impact. तो disaster damage हो गया physical units में, और disaster impact हो गया जो उसका effect होता है society पे या humans पे या environment पे, उसको हम disaster impact के अंदर लेते हैं. Now we come to what had we said about disaster. Disaster is an event where a hazard risk has occurred. So disaster is something or an event where a hazard risk has occurred. So now we go into the definition of what is a hazard. Now hazard are all events. I hope so far I'm clear. I've got a little shaky because of the board thing. I hope we have picked up from there. So earlier we had said that a disaster occurs when a hazard risk, a disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized. When a hazard risk is realized. Disaster occurs when a hazard risk is realized. अब हम बात करते हैं hazard की. So what is a hazard? A hazard arises, are events or physical conditions A hazard is an event or physical condition that has the potential to cause fatalities, matlab death, injuries, property damage, infrastructure damage, agriculture loss, damage to the environment, interpretation of business, or other types of harm or loss. So I repeat, hazards are events or physical conditions जो बहुत वाइड स्केल पर मींस वाइड स्प्रेड सिर्फ क्या करती हैं, लॉसेस करती हैं. सो हजार्ड इज एन इवेंट or physical condition that have the potential, means hazard in itself is not a disaster. Why? Because it has the potential to cause all these damages and destruction and everything, but it is only a potential. It is not the disaster itself. For example, cigarette smoking is hazardous to public health. आपने सुना है ना, वो सिगरेट के पैकेट पे लिखा रहता है that smoking is hazardous to health. Now, it is a hazard. Smoking is a hazard, but it is not a disaster. So there is a difference between a hazard and a disaster, which you need to understand. So a hazard is only a potential disaster. And when it combines with the risk and vulnerabilities, it becomes a disaster. We will go into that, but for the time being, it will be good for you to realize that smoking in itself is a hazard. So it is causing a damage to the health of the public at large, but it is not a disaster. However, if, for example, a dam which is being constructed for the purpose of holding and diverting waters of a river breaks, and there is an entire flooding of a state, then it is a disaster. And how is that disaster taking place? It is combined with factors of vulnerability and risk, which we will be talking of later. So coming back to hazard, hazards are events or physical conditions which have the potential, और इसको आप प्लीज याद रखिएगा, which have the potential to cause widespread damage, and destruction to human life, property, environment, agriculture, land. आपको फिर जो याद आ जाए वो सब. But what is the important thing to remember is that it is an event or a physical condition which have the potential to cause all this widespread damage, destruction of human life and property, or environment and agriculture, land. So hazard in itself is not a disaster, but it is the potential. It has the potential to cause all this. So like I gave you the example of cigarette smoking. So cigarette smoking is a hazard to the health of the people, but in itself is not a disaster. So how does a hazard become a disaster? Whether a hazard becomes a disaster will depend upon two other factors. One is called the risk, and the second is called the vulnerability. So whether the hazard becomes a disaster depends upon two things: hazard plus high risk plus high vulnerability. जो मैंने आपको डिजास्टर की डेफिनेशन दिखाई है वो यूएन चार्टर की डेफिनेशन है, आप उसको वैसे क्या वैसे ही लीजिएगा. And for the others also, this is from the UN definition. I haven't taken any other definitions. Whatever was there in the UN declaration only that I have taken, so that it is the most authentic. इससे ज़्यादा कुछ authentic नहीं हो सकता. So a hazard is something, it converts into a disaster whenever there is a risk and a vulnerability which is involved in it. Now we will first come to what is risk. So risk is when hazards interact with physical, social, economic, and environmental vulnerabilities. So disaster risk arises when hazards interact with the physical, social, economic, and environmental vulnerabilities. If you look at what is a risk, risk is equal to a probability of a hazard into the degree of vulnerability. So risk is directly equal to the probability of a hazard. मतलब कितनी, what are the chances that a hazard is going to occur, multiplied by the degree of vulnerability. And because it's a multiplicative relationship, as the probability of a hazard is high, if the degree of vulnerability is also high, the risk will be higher. अब रिस्क के साथ जब जो ये आपने इनकी डेफिनेशन देखी है, इसी तरह से इनके बारे में कहा गया है that first we will come to the part of what is the probability of a hazard, and then we will go into what is the vulnerability. So risk is nothing but the likelihood of an event to occur as a consequence is the likelihood. Risk is the likelihood of an event occurring multiplied by the consequence of the event if it were to occur. If it were to occur. So risk is the likelihood of an event which is going to occur, multiplied by the consequence of the event if it was going to occur. You can understand this. This is a little tough to understand, but if you take it in terms of examples, it will be much easier. So the risk of people in low-lying areas to be affected by cyclones is very high. Why? Because it's a low-lying area. As soon as there's a depression anywhere on the sea, there is going to be a storm. The storm is likely to convert into a cyclone. And if the cyclone comes, the people in the low-lying areas are likely to be affected by it. So first is the likelihood of an event to occur. तो जो भी कोई सी शोर के पास रहता है वो साइक्लोन से अफेक्ट हो सकता है, या जो किसी के पास रहता है वो सुनामी से भी अफेक्ट हो सकता है. सिमिलरली अगर आप माउंटेन्स पे रहते हैं, स्पेशली जो अभी आपके फोल्ड माउंटेन्स है लाइक द हिमालयस, अगर आप हिमालयस में हैं और वहां रहते हैं, you should be aware that you are at a risk of being in an earthquake prone zone because these are young mountains, they are moving all the time. तो मूवमेंट की वजह से वहां पे earthquake हो सकता है. Another example which I'll give you, if you are staying in the Kashmir Valley because of the terrorist activities over there, your risk of being under a terrorist attack is very high. If on the other hand, you are staying in a state like Sikkim, you are not vulnerable to any kind of terrorist activity. So the risk of you being exposed to terrorism in Kashmir is very high. In Sikkim, that risk is very low. Now, that is the first part of it, the likelihood of an event occurring. Okay. By the consequence of the event, if it were to occur. अब consequences क्या हैं? अगर ये आपने जो risk लिया, आप जाकर कश्मीर वैली में रहते हैं तो उसके consequences क्या हैं? Consequences are that you are going to be threatened with your life and might not be able to survive in the valley if you are not belonging to a particular community. So therefore, the risk is very high. The consequences that it is going to occur, like it has occurred in all this time, is also very high. Similarly, if you are staying near the sea and it is the monsoon season, the likelihood of you facing a cyclone is very, very high. और पहले तो बे ऑफ बंगाल में ही होता था, अब तो अरेबियन सी भी रियलिटी हो गई है. So your risk of being exposed to a cyclone is very high, and the consequences of a cyclone are very well established, and therefore there can be nothing to stop it from becoming a disaster. So this is the part of the risk. Risk is the likelihood of an event occurring multiplied by the consequence of that event if it were to occur. तो अगर उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हाई है जब इवेंट होगा और उसका रिस्क कि वो ऐसा हो सकता है अगर वो भी हाई है तो आप एकदम डिजास्टर के करीब हैं. सो then only will the disaster take place. That is the first part of your disaster definition. So a disaster is a risk hazard which has been realized and qualified with a caveat that the society does not have any capability to be able to manage with its present resources the event which has occurred, means which the disaster which has occurred. So risk is the likelihood of an event which is going to occur multiplied by the consequences that if it were to occur, what would happen. So if the consequences and the likelihood of the event are both high, it means the risk is high, which means that the disaster can take place. But what will be the result of the disaster? How widespread will it be? Will depend on another concept, which is vulnerability. I hope I've been able to explain to you what is a risk. Did you get it or not? Did you get the concept of risk? Okay. So if we were to say that risk is a measure of expected losses. It's a measure of expected losses. A risk is a measure of expected losses due to a hazard. Event occurring in a given area and at a given time. So it's a measure of expected losses due to a hazard event occurring in a given area at a given time. This is your risk. So like I told you that if you are in a low-lying area, if you are in a mountainous region, if you are near the sea, the likelihood of you being impacted by a tsunami or a cyclone are high. If you're in the mountains, the likelihood of you to being exposed to an earthquake is very high. If you are in Kashmir and if you're staying in a terrorist zone area, likelihood of you being attacked by the terrorist is also very high. So disaster risk arises hazards when hazards occur in a given area and at a given time. Now we will come to what is called the vulnerability. 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 The word vulnerability comes from the Latin term, which means to wound or to measure of propensity of an object, area, or individual or community to incur the consequences of a hazard. अब ये तो इसकी डेफिनेशन, इसको सिंपली समझिए कि vulnerability आप अगर अपनी भाषा में उसको साधारण भाषा में कहना चाहेंगे तो वो मेजर है कि आप कितने ज्यादा एक्सपोज्ड हैं किसी हजार्ड के लिए. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आप इकोनॉमिकली वाल्नरेबल हैं तो आपके पास वो क्षमता नहीं है, यू डोंट हैव द मनी टू बी एबल टू फेस अ हजार्ड. So if you're belonging to a lower middle class family, it is very likely that your income is less, and should any kind of a hazard or an unnatural event occur, your capability to fight for it or to fight with it is very limited. तो आप इकोनॉमिकली वल्नरेबल ग्रुप को बिलोंग करते हैं, इसका मतलब कि आपके पास क्षमता कम है किसी भी हजार्ड को फेस करने के लिए. सो how economically vulnerable are you? Economic vulnerability will depend upon, मतलब वो किस किस चीजों पे डिपेंड करेगी. पहला, अगर आप घर में अकेले कमाने वाले हैं तो naturally if you have only one single source of income, it means that whenever a hazard occurs, you are economically vulnerable. Similarly, people do not have the capacity for alternative fallbacks. मान लीजिए कि आपकी नौकरी, इमेजिन अ कोविड सिचुएशन जहां पे कि आप एक प्राइवेट सेक्टर में काम करते थे, अब लॉकडाउन हो गया तो आपका पूरा का पूरा जो सिस्टम था वो बंद हो गया. Now because of the lockdown you lost your job. If you lost your job, do you have anything to fall back on? Like that you have an alternative arrangement from where you can get your resources. So like if you have a field of land in your village, that is a good way to fall back on. If you have alternative family members who are ready to support you, then it means that your economic vulnerability is a little less than what it should be. So vulnerability means comes from the Latin word vulnerability, which means to wound, and it's a measure of propensity of an object. Propensity का मतलब likelihood. So vulnerability is likelihood of an object, of an area, of an individual or a community to incur the consequences of a hazard. तो जरूरी नहीं है कि hazard हो और वो सबको एक ही तरह से प्रभावित करे. वो प्रभावित उन लोगों को उस हिसाब से करता है जितने कि आप वल्नरेबल होते हैं. तो वल्नरेबल आप कैसे हो सकते हैं? वल्नरेबल आप इकोनॉमिक सेंस में हो सकते हैं. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि आपके पास पैसे कम है तो आप हर समय जाकर के लो लाइंग एरियाज में अपने घर बनाएंगे. अगर आप लो लाइंग एरियाज में अपने घर बनाएंगे तो वहां फ्लडिंग होने की बहुत ज्यादा संभावना है. अगर आपकी सोर्स ऑफ इनकम एक ही है और वो बंद हो गई तो आपके पास दूसरा फॉल बैक कोई मैकेनिज्म है क्या? अगर नहीं है तो आप इकोनॉमिकली वल्नरेबल हैं. जैसे अगर आप सपोज, आई वांट टू गिव यू अनदर एग्जांपल that of vulnerability. मान लीजिए कि आप you stay in a place like Rann of Kutch, तो आप अगर गांधी धाम में रहते हैं तो वहां पे एक बहुत बड़ा earthquake आया था. I think it was somewhere in 2005 or 6. There's a big earthquake there and a certain set of houses just disappeared and a certain set of houses just remained as they were. So if a building is supposed to be made earthquake proof, तो आप क्या करते हैं? आप उसमें रेट्रोफिटिंग करते हैं और उनको आप बूस्ट अप करते हैं ताकि वो बिल्डिंग अर्थक्वेक के इफेक्ट से ना गिरे. तो इसको क्या कहते हैं? आप बिल्डिंग में रिसिलियंस लाते हैं. मतलब यू मेक दैट बिल्डिंग capable of being able to fight the earthquake. So resilience human terms में भी होती है. Like for example, people repeatedly take the exams and then they get depressed that they are not able to qualify the exam. आपके UPSC की बात कर रही हूँ. But suppose that you are resilient. You take in your failures as they are. You think that, okay, I couldn't fix this up, so let me fix it the next time. So that is your resilience. That is your ability to rebound back, to come back, to make a comeback. The more resilient you are, the less vulnerable you will be to the disaster or to the hazard. So hazard will be converted into a disaster only if you are at high risk and only if you are highly vulnerable. तभी वो hazard एक disaster में convert होता है. तो सबसे पहले मैंने आपको बताया कि what is a economic vulnerability. अब दूसरी आपके पास है. So ये first हो गई आपकी economic vulnerability. मतलब what is your I'm just writing VUL for vulnerability. So first is your economic vulnerability. Which depends upon your income. So if your source of income is less, you are more economically vulnerable. You are more susceptible to the hazard because your capability to fight the hazard will be less. Simple economic vulnerability. If your source of income is only one and you have nothing to fall back on, you are economically vulnerable. The second is your physical vulnerability. Physical vulnerability. अब physical vulnerability क्या है? Potential impact of hazard on the physical process or the environment. तो अगर आप physical vulnerability में आपका क्या क्या हो गया? अगर आप low lying area में रहते हैं या आप mountainous region में रहते हैं या आप war zone में रहते हैं तो आपके संग डिजास्टर होने की चांसेस बहुत ज्यादा है. आपको वो हजार्ड अफेक्ट करेगा because you are physically vulnerable. So those who live in low-lying areas are prone to flooding, and if the flood comes with accompanied with torrential rain, you are likely to face the disaster. So you are more prone, more exposed, more vulnerable if you are staying in the low-lying area. Similarly, if you are living in the mountainous region, you are more vulnerable to earthquakes. ऐसे ही अगर आप war zone में रह रहे हैं तो आपके साथ टेररिज्म का एपिसोड हो सकता है या आपको कोई मार के गिरा सकता है, or you will be a party to the war if you are living in a war zone area. So this is your physical vulnerability, which is closely related to your environment. For example, if you are living somewhere near, close to the coastal areas in Orissa, the likelihood of you to be experiencing a cyclone time and again will be very, very high. Because the Bay of Bengal, the temperature of the sea tends to be a little high. As soon as a low pressure area develops, the wind starts to blow, combined with the monsoon, the likelihood of a cyclone increases. So if you're staying in the coastal areas of Orissa, your vulnerability to cyclones is very, very high. That is your physical vulnerability. So your geographical proximity, that means your geographical proximity. Your geographical proximity to any of these areas which I mentioned are likely to increase your physical vulnerability to the hazard. That is another point. Now we talk about the social vulnerability. Sometime back, I think in the previous, when we were talking about question and answers, one of the students had mentioned that how the women are considered to be a vulnerable group and how their empowerment or how their progress is being affected. So women, children, disabled people, elderly people, all come under the concept of social vulnerability. ओके, तो आपकी अगर ये vulnerability हो गई, तो एक आपकी economic हो गई. So I've spoken about your physical vulnerability. Then we spoke about your economic vulnerability, and social vulnerability is where you have certain group of people who tend to be more vulnerable because of belonging to a particular group, like old age, like women, like children. So whenever a hazard occurs, these are the groups which are likely to be exposed to the hazard earlier than the others. That is another thing which is a part of the vulnerability. Economic, social, physical. तो economic मैंने आपको बता दिया. Social, I told you, there are target groups who are more vulnerable than the common person. And physical, when you are geographically in proximity to the hazard occurring area, then you are considered to be vulnerable. Then there is something called the environmental vulnerability. अब environmental vulnerability किस चीजों से आती है कि there are certain ecosystems which are more vulnerable. So आपके जितने biosphere hotspots हैं वो पूरे के पूरे environmentally vulnerable हैं to a hazard. So if you have a very dry forest, so in the month of April, if you remember that the forests in Mysore catch fire very fast because they are environmentally vulnerable. The leaves have dried, they have fallen on the ground, there's nobody to sweep it out, and anything, a small wildfire in any part of the forest can can take them away. Similarly, आपको मैंने wetlands पढ़ाए. Wetlands are more vulnerable because of anthropogenic activity, जो कि आपकी solid waste management इतना खराब है, आप अपना सारा का सारा solid waste जाकर पानी में डाल रहे हैं. उसकी वजह से जो आपके wetlands हैं वो खत्म होते जा रहे हैं. And the capacity of the trees there are not able to filter out the water. So wetlands are also depreciating because of encroachments or your forests which are being deforested. So ये सारे जितने हैं ये environmentally vulnerable हैं. So wetlands is one, forests are the other. I told you about the biosphere hotspots. These are also environmentally vulnerable to hazards. That's the other part of it. अब इसी के साथ साथ एक है attitudinal vulnerability. Attitudinal vulnerability. What is your attitudinal vulnerability? Sometimes you develop a mindset that you cannot fight the situation. That is your attitudinal vulnerability. Like I was just now talking to you, that some people take the exam one time, two times, and the third time they decide that it's enough, they cannot do it. So that is an attitude. If you have a defeatist attitude in life, there will be a number of episodes or events in your life which you'll never be able to overcome. So that is your personality factor. That is also your vulnerability. Some of us are always ready to accept a challenge and push forward. Others go into a kind of depression. Each individual is different. So you can have an attitudinal vulnerability. Attitudinal vulnerability can be also of a section or a community of a society. Like, for example, if you interact with the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe, you always find them at a very low end of in terms of their confidence, because they have never come out and interacted on a one-to-one basis with the people of the modern world. तो उनकी जो एक एटीट्यूडनल वल्नरेबिलिटी है उसको आप डिसमिस नहीं कर सकते, और वो भी हमें प्रोन करती है कि अगर कोई हजार्ड होता है तो हम उससे क्षमता नहीं रखते उससे लड़ाई करने के लिए. So then your attitudinal vulnerability will also be responsible for the occurrence of a hazard. Now this is your so far as what is known as risk and vulnerability. So I have told you that risk is nothing but probability of a hazard, probability of a hazard multiplied by what is called the degree of vulnerability. Probability of a hazard, क्या ये hazard होगा, और the degree of vulnerability, आप उस hazard से कितने ज्यादा अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं, आपकी प्रोपेंसिटी क्या है, प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या है कि आप इससे अफेक्ट होंगे बिकॉज ऑफ योर ओन फिजिकल, इकोनॉमिक, सोशल, एटीट्यूडनल, environmental vulnerability to the hazard will then determine your risk. इसको आप प्लीज जैसा है वैसे ही याद कर लीजिए. The probability of a hazard, हाँ ये हजार्ड होने की चांसेस ज्यादा है. जैसे थर्ड वेव ऑफ कोविड, probability of it is very high. In some countries it's already taken. अगर आज आप न्यूज देखेंगे तो it says that one of the cities in China has been now cornered off, means it's been blocked. And we would come to know because there are some 4 million cases of coronavirus there, and they are giving a different version of coronavirus now. So the third wave of coronavirus, the probability of the hazard is very high. Now the degree of vulnerability किस पे depend करेगी? जैसे पहले भी हुआ था, those who are a BP patient, those who have diabetes, so your physical conditions will affect you. Those are your physical conditions. Then your social conditions. If you're come in the elderly group, your chances and likelihood of getting the coronavirus are very, very high. Economically, if you see, will you have the ability to able to afford the medication which is required for coronavirus? That will be your economic vulnerability. And of course, finally, the attitudinal vulnerability. So many times, so many people have said that those people who went to the hospital had very, very low levels of oxygen, but because they had the spirit to fight back, they made it. And those who could not, despite all best measures, couldn't make it back, or because of an attitude that they couldn't fight, they got frightened. So that will be your attitudinal vulnerability. इससे अच्छा लिविंग एग्जाम्पल आपको किसी भी डिजास्टर का मिल नहीं सकता. It is a living example of a disaster. We have now reached that place in history where we are talking about a disaster management system for an actual occurring disaster right in front of our eyes. And I don't know if anything can be more probable in terms of a question than the one which we are dealing with right now. Having said that, let us come to what are the different type of risks or concepts of risk. तो ये आपका रिस्क हो गया. वल्नरेबिलिटी मैंने आपको बता दिया, एक बार और आपके लिए लिख दे रही हूँ. I don't know if you are able to understand this or not. Let me tell you, it is very, very confusing. I have tried to make it as simple for you with examples as I could. I still think that the writing board is a disaster. I was very happy without using the board, but let's forget it. That's my personal disaster. This we are talking in terms of disaster management. So one is your economic vulnerability. The other is your physical vulnerability. This is your social vulnerability. This is your environmental vulnerability. And this is your attitudinal vulnerability. मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल के थ्रू जब ले चलूंगी तो ये सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स आपको साथ साथ में बताती चलूंगी. लाइक आई स्पोक अबाउट कोरोना वायरस राइट नाउ, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट ऑल द vulnerabilities. So probability, we talked about the risk right now. The risk is the probability of a hazard. Coronavirus third wave, very high probability of the hazard to take place. Degree of vulnerability depending upon economic, physical, social, environmental, and attitudinal. Now we are going to go back and talk about the various kinds of risk. तो एक क्या होता है, जैसे आपके वल्नरेबिलिटीज हैं वैसे ही आपका रिस्क है. एक क्या होता है, रिस्क एक्सेप्टेंस. व्हाट डज योर रिस्क एक्सेप्टेंस मीन? यू एक्सेप्ट और यू agree that this risk is going to take place. So you are simply saying that the corona third wave is going to take place. So that is called your risk acceptance. Risk acceptance means that you accept that the hazard is going to take place, is going to take place. Okay, that is your risk acceptance. हाँ, ये hazard हो सकता है. अब risk avoidance क्या है? Risk avoidance, again to give you an example, you know there is a probability of you being shot down in the valley in Srinagar, and therefore you avoid staying in Kashmir. So this exodus which you see of people who are not native to Kashmir or do not belong to a particular community, leaving the city and coming out is what is called risk avoidance. आप वहां नहीं रहेंगे क्योंकि आप मरना नहीं चाहते, इसलिए अब आप वहां से निकल आ रहे हैं. So this is your risk avoidance. You don't want to face it, so you are running away from it. The other is your risk reduction. अब risk reduction क्या है? आप appropriate techniques अपनाते हैं ताकि जो हजार्ड है उसके रिस्क को आप कम कर सकें. तो आप कोरोना वायरस के इफेक्ट को कैसे कम कर रहे हैं? आप डबल वैक्सीनेशन ले रहे हैं, तो उससे आप अपने रिस्क को रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं. सो यू आर अडॉप्टिंग टेक्निक्स टू रिड्यूस द रिस्क. Okay, I hope I'm able to clarify what I'm trying to teach you. So this is your risk reduction. Now what is called risk transfer. Risk transfer is not that you pass on the infection to another person, no. Risk means that yes, you are vulnerable to this. The probability of this event to occur is high, but because you cannot face it, you transfer that risk to someone else. तो आप जब एक लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कराते हैं तो वो बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल है एक रिस्क ट्रांसफर का. आई ट्राई टू थिंक ऑफ अदर examples for risk transfer, but I couldn't get it. I would always say that because when we work in the government, we are always given a certain SOP or certain set of powers to execute. कि हमारी पावर में ये चीजें डिफाइंड है, इसके बियॉन्ड हम नहीं कर सकते. तो whenever we are taking a decision, suppose that I don't feel capable or strong enough to take a decision on file, I put up the file to my senior authority. So thereby I am transferring my risk of a probable disaster by taking the approval of a higher authority. This is again a case of risk transfer. Okay, so this is not a disaster situation, but it is a simple example of how you transfer your responsibility or how you transfer your risk of being exposed to any kind of adverse situation. अगर आप सब इन शब्दों से कहीं भी कंफ्यूज हो रहे हो तो आप एकदम सिंपली सोचिए कि कोई एक एपिसोड हो रहा है जो वो बहुत ही खराब एपिसोड है. अब आपको देखना है कि आप उस कंटिन्यूम में जहां से कि ये एपिसोड स्टार्ट होता है उसमें आप किस जगह पे खड़े हैं? क्या ये एपिसोड आपको अफेक्ट कर सकता है? अगर अफेक्ट कर सकता है तो किस तरीके से अफेक्ट कर सकता है? दैट इज जस्ट द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डिजास्टर इन वेरी सिंपल वर्ड्स. बट अगर आप सोचते हैं कि आप इससे आंसर लिख लेंगे तो वो प्रोबेबिलिटी जीरो है. आई एम टेलिंग यू इट्स जीरो. This is how you'll have to learn it and this is how you'll have to write it. I'm so sorry. I tried to make it as simple as possible, but इससे ज्यादा simple नहीं हो पा रहा. I wanted to give you these examples so that you feel confident when you are reading these concepts. Believe me, it is tough. And when I'm saying it's tough, it means that there is some degree of toughness in the words which are being used and the way they are being used. क्योंकि टर्मिनोलॉजी तो मुश्किल नहीं है, पर उनकी जो इंटरप्रिटेशन है डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट के चैप्टर में वो थोड़ी फर्क है. और क्योंकि हर एक शब्द दूसरे से इंटरकनेक्टेड है, तो अगर आपको एक चीज समझ नहीं आएगी तो दूसरी समझना बहुत मुश्किल है. सो कमिंग बैक टू दिस, like we have vulnerabilities which are economic, physical, social, attitudinal, environmental, 5 उसी तरह से आपके पास different degrees of risk है. एक risk acceptance है, एक risk avoidance है, एक risk reduction है और एक आपका risk transfer है. All right? So far so good. Now we have so far spoken only about disaster. Now we are going to come to the concept of disaster management. अब disaster management क्या होता है? Disaster management includes a sum total of all activities and programs, measures which can be taken up before, during, and after a disaster. This is not the UN definition of disaster management. Disaster management, according to the UN definition, and I'm going to repeat it in parts so that you understand. I'll write it for you also. The board is behaving itself. Disaster management is the organization and management. I repeat, disaster management is the organization and management of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergencies in order to lessen the impact of disaster. Okay, so we'll go part by part. Disaster management is the organization. It is the organization. Disaster management is the organization and management. तो दो शब्द याद कर लीजिए, एक organization और एक management. Disaster तो आप रट चुके होंगे क्योंकि disaster तो इतनी तरह से बढ़ा दिया गया है कि अब आप भूल नहीं सकते. I will still repeat disaster, but I think you must be knowing by now. Disaster management is the organization, management of resources. Of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergencies in order to lessen the impact of disasters. Disaster management is the organization and management, of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergency in order to less the impact of disasters. तो वो efforts जो आप करते हैं कभी भी किसी डिजास्टर इवेंट में, उसको डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट कहते हैं। और वो आप किस तरह से करते हैं? विथ रिसोर्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, so as to mitigate या lessen the impact that the disaster has on the humans which are involved or on humanity as a whole. So this definition you need to know by heart. I want to know if you want to continue with the class, because we are going to go in the pre-disaster phase and the post-disaster phase before I end the class. I want to complete that. Are you good enough with it? I'm sorry we wasted a good 10 minutes in starting the class because of the board. So would you like me to finish it here and start it with again tomorrow, or what would you like me to do? I can continue also, depending on how much you have inside you. We continue?
Yes, ma'am, please continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Ma'am,
Sushil,
continue,
you're
please.
going to make 60 marks today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so we are saying right now that disaster management is the organization and management of resource and responsibility for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergency in order to less the impact of a disaster. Having said that, now let us go into what are the various phases of a disaster. Okay, the phases of a disaster. So there is a pre-disaster phase, okay, which includes, what does the pre-disaster phase include? It includes risk management. Basically, it includes risk management, which includes your risk management, okay? And if you look at it, it includes concepts of prevention plus mitigation and preparedness. ये सब बड़े बड़े शब्द आपको by heart याद होने चाहिए. I can't help it, it's a part of the charter. So it is a pre-disaster. So phases of disaster management. अब ये disaster नहीं है, management भी इसमें add हो गया है. Disaster तो आपका हम खत्म कर चुके with risk and vulnerability. A pre-disaster phase, which is your phase 1, which includes only risk management. आप अपनी जो risk है, जो आपका risk assessment है, risk avoidance है, risk आप मिटिगेट करते हैं, वो सब रिस्क मैनेजमेंट में आता है. और इसमें कौन कौन से कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं? प्रिवेंशन, मिटिगेशन एंड प्रिपेयर्डनेस. मतलब आप जो रिस्क इन्वॉल्व है उसको कितना रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं, वो इस प्री डिजास्टर फेज में आता है. नाउ द पोस्ट डिजास्टर फेज. The post-disaster phase is your crisis management phase. और इसमें आपका क्या क्या होता है? इसमें आपका होता है रिलीफ, रिहैबिलिटेशन, रिकंस्ट्रक्शन and recovery. Okay, it includes relief. So your pre-disaster phase is mainly associated with risk management. आप वो कौन कौन से काम कर सकते हैं जिससे कि आप उस डिसास्टर के इफेक्ट को या तो खत्म कर दें और या तो कम कर सके. That is your risk management. उसमें आपके कॉन्सेप्ट्स कौन कौन से हैं? प्रिवेंशन, मिटिगेशन एंड प्रिपेयर्डनेस. पोस्ट डिजास्टर के क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट हो जाती है. अब डिजास्टर हो गया, अब आप उसका कुछ नहीं कर सकते. आपको कोविड के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता था, तो जब कोविड हो गया उसके बाद आप क्या कर सकते हैं? आप एक क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट करते हैं, जिसमें आप रिलीफ लोगों को देते हैं, रिहैबिलिटेट करते हैं, रिकंस्ट्रक्ट करते हैं एंड रिकवरी की तरफ काम करते हैं। तो पहले ये जो रिलीफ, रिहैबिलिटेशन, reconstruction and recovery थी, the 4 Rs. This is a shift now in disaster management, and you must have read also that after 2016 there has been a shift in disaster management programs and plans, and now what has it become? तो पहले ये 4 Rs important होते थे, मतलब एपिसोड हो गया, वो डिजास्टर हो गया, उसके बाद हम भाग रहे हैं। तो साइक्लोन हो गया, उसके बाद हमने उनको, अब उन लोगों के लिए एक वो बना दिया, शिविर बना दिया, जहां हमने उन लोगों को, उनको रहने की सुविधा दे दी, खाने पीने की सुविधा दे दी, और इन द मीन टाइम जिस जगह वो रहते थे, जो साइक्लोन प्रोन एरिया था, वहां पे हमने ऐसे हाउसेस की कंस्ट्रक्शन शुरू करी जो कि अब साइक्लोन से अफेक्ट नहीं होंगे। तो आपने उनको पहले शिविर में रिहैबिलिटेट किया, फिर आपने उनकी जो घर थे, जो खराब हो गए, जो टूट गए, उनको रिकंस्ट्रक्ट किया, और फिर आपने उनको रिकवरी प्रोवाइड करी और रिलीफ प्रोवाइड करी। रिकवरी कैसे होती है? रिकवरी is not a very short term measure, but you think that you are going to give them some means by which they are going to be able to pick back their livelihood. So recovery is also in emotional and social terms. When a person gets psychologically disturbed or affected because of a disaster, that is also recovery. But mostly in economic terms, there is a recovery phase. And relief, of course, कि जैसे ही कोई disaster हुआ, आप दवा, आप you're taking your medicines, you're taking food, you're taking clean water for the people. That is your relief package. So first, the orientation of disaster management was towards the 4 Rs: relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery. But now the words are more towards prevention, mitigation, and preparedness. So this is now becoming the buzzword for your disaster management. So अब we will go into the detail of what is the pre-disaster. The first one, जो आपका pre-disaster phase है, इसमें आप जो risk management करते हैं, उसका मतलब क्या होता है कि आप किसी भी हजारत की risk और vulnerability को समझते हैं, और फिर आप कोशिश करते हैं कि उसको हम किस तरह से प्रिवेंट करें और उसको कैसे मिटिगेट करें। मिटिगेट का मतलब क्या होता है? टू लेसन द इफेक्ट ऑफ समथिंग। सो फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर इज अ फॉरेस्ट फायर, एंड सो द कम्युनिटीज कम टुगेदर and try to throw water on the fire, try to throw sand on the fire. तो फायर के इफेक्ट को वो पूरा तो नहीं कम कर सकते, बट उसको बहुत हद तक कंट्रोल कर ले जाती। तो मिटिगेट का मतलब होता है टू लेसन द इफेक्ट ऑफ समथिंग। तो यहाँ पे क्या है? टू मिटिगेट करके आप उस हजार्ड को, उसके इफेक्ट को कम करने की कोशिश करते हैं। अभी वो डिजास्टर नहीं बना है, इट इज अ पोटेंशियल डिजास्टर। दैट इज व्हाई यू हैव द प्री डिजास्टर फेज। तो प्री डिजास्टर फेज में आप दो तरह से काम कर सकते हैं, एक शॉर्ट टर्म। So we are now in the pre-disaster phase. Pre-disaster phase में एक आपका short term है और एक आपका long term है। Long term में आप क्या क्या करते हैं? जैसे जो फ्लड प्रोन एरिया है, वहां आप एम्बैंकमेंट्स बनाते हैं। तो जब सुनामी आई थी, उसके बाद we had a whole lot of construction along Marine Drive in Bombay to mitigate the effect of the tsunami. तो उन्होंने बड़े बड़े embankments बनाए, and they made structured cement kind of rocks which is being piled all along the shoreline. तो अगर आपकी इंडिया की कितने किलोमीटर्स की shoreline है? 8,000 kilometers की shoreline है इंडिया की। So if you have a 8,000 kilometer shoreline, कहीं ना कुछ तो होता ही रहेगा, कहीं फ्लड आता रहेगा, कहीं पे you will be having a tsunami, somewhere you will be having a cyclone. So everywhere there will be a different kind of an effect. By and large, it is cyclones which affect the various shorelines in India. So if you have that, the first thing to stop flooding, you make embankments. So that is one of the long-term measures that you're going to take. Or for example, you want to there is a disaster for what is called climate change. Climate change, global warming, ये भी सब disasters हैं. और desertification, ये भी एक तरह के disasters ही हैं, जो कि बहुत लंबा समय लेते हैं होने के लिए, but they are short disasters. जो एरिया डेजर्ट बन चुका, अब उसको रिक्लेम करना इम्पॉसिबल है. एंड इन इंडिया वी हैव लॉस्ट अ लॉट ऑफ लैंड. अभी समय मेरे पास स्टैटिस्टिक्स नहीं है. We have lost a lot of land to desertification. So when these things happen, what is your long-term measure? Embankments for floods, to stop climate change and desertification, afforestation. तो आप एक दिन में तो पेड़ लगा नहीं लेंगे, आपको समय लगेगा, तो वो आपका लॉन्ग टर्म मेजर है. अब शॉर्ट टर्म मेजर में आप क्या क्या कर सकते हैं? शॉर्ट टर्म मेजर में सबसे पहले अवेयरनेस. Coronavirus does exist, and that if you do take a vaccination, you are protected. So if you are double vaccinated, according to the disaster management plan, which is right now prevalent in Bombay, in the state of Maharashtra, only if you are double vaccinated can you board the local train. अब ये डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट के चीफ सेक्रेटरी जो हेड करते हैं कमिटी को, उनके नोटिफिकेशन से ये आज निकल के आया है कि ठीक है, आप ट्रेन, लोकल ट्रेन चलेंगी, पर आप उसमें तभी ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं जब आप डबल वैक्सीनेटेड है. अगर आप डबल वैक्सीनेटेड नहीं है तो आप उसमें ट्रैवल नहीं कर सकते. शॉर्ट टर्म में आप और क्या करते हैं? आप मास्क पहनते हैं टू अवॉइड एक्सपोजर टू अदर पीपल, एंड यू डू काइंड ऑफ, इसको और की भी अवेयरनेस किस चीज की दी जाती है कि आप अपनी इम्यूनिटी को बूस्ट करें. डोंट कॉन्ग्रीगेट, डोंट गेट टुगेदर इन लार्ज नंबर्स. तो 5 से ज्यादा लोग एक जगह इकट्ठा ना हो. ये सारे आपके शॉर्ट टर्म मेजर्स हैं, ये मिटिगेशन है. आप इस तरह से उसके इफेक्ट को कम कर सकते हैं. तो अगर आप अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करते हैं और कुछ आप रूल्स बनाते हैं और उनको इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं, those are also short term measures for preparedness and for your awareness. So in the pre-disaster phase, you have short-term and long-term measures depending upon what is the disaster that you are preparing yourself for. So in short-term, you have awareness campaigns, you make strategies and let them go down to the lowest of the groups who are there, so that the least and the most vulnerable, the least economically community and the most vulnerable community is also aware about the disaster and how to be able to mitigate it. तो वो शॉर्ट टर्म हो गया. लॉन्ग टर्म में मैंने आपको बताया कि आपको लॉन्ग टर्म में क्या करना है. अब कोरोना वायरस के लिए आपको डबल वैक्सीनेटेड होना ही होना है. वैसे ही अगर आपको क्लाइमेट चेंज, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग, डेजर्टिफिकेशन को रोकना है तो आपको अफॉरेस्टेशन करना ही पड़ेगा. These are all your long-term measures. Okay, now we come to what is disaster occurrence. Now we come to the post phase. अब post phase में सबसे important है what is called the golden hour. एक प्री फेज हो गया, एक पोस्ट फेज हो गया. योर गोल्डन आवर, इट इज द फर्स्ट आवर आफ्टर द डिजास्टर हैज अकर्ड. ऐसा माना जाता है कि कोई भी डिजास्टर होने के 1 घंटे के अंदर अंदर आप अपने जितने लॉसेस कट कर लेते हैं, जितनी जानें बचा सकते हैं, जितनी आप अपनी प्रॉपर्टी को सेव कर सकते हैं, जितना अपना सामान बचा सकते हैं, जितना आप लोगों की मदद कर सकते हैं, वो जो पहला 1 आवर होता है, इट इज कॉल्ड द गोल्डन आवर. आप कितने लोगों को रिलीफ पहुंचा सकते हैं, हाउ मेनी लाइव्स कैन यू सेव, that 1 hour is called the golden hour and it is the most important hour. तो इस समय आप सारी इमरजेंसी की चीजें करते हैं. तो इस 1 hour में आप जितने लोगों को बचा सकते हैं वो मैक्सिमम है जो बचेंगे. That is what is said. So if it's an emergency situation, the maximum people that you can give medical assistance, the maximum people you can pick up from flood prone areas, the maximum people you can make them reach to hospital, or you can provide food, or you can provide water. Your relief, your rehabilitation, your recovery is now your part of the post phase, post disaster phase. That is what is there. Even in this case, when the disaster has occurred, you are trying to evacuate the people from the low-lying areas. Suppose that there is a case of a cyclone, तो ये आपका post phase माना जाता है. फिर recovery and rehabilitation it's a long period of time. उसके लिए आपको ज्यादा परेशान होने की जरूरत नहीं. You can write that recovery depends upon the policy of the government. Like for example, in COVID times, the Reserve Bank of India reduced the rates of interest, tried to create more loans for people who were affected. Then if you look at contractual management, there was a whole concept of dies non. आपको dies non पता है क्या होता है? This is AS, dies non. Dies non period is from March 20 till June 28 was a dies non period in contractual terms. Dies non means that during this period, any contractor, any tender which is in place will have no payment to be done because it is a disaster phase. जैसे आप disaster declare करते हैं, आप सबसे पहले डायजॉन का पीरियड इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं, तो हमारे जितने भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं जिसमें की पेमेंट आता है, लाइक where the contractors are responsible for making payment to the government, their fees is said to be not to be paid, meaning those 90 days are considered to be zero payment to the government. तो जितनी उनकी लाइसेंस फी है वो 90 दिनों के लिए, और मैंने आपको पीरियड भी बता दिया from 20th of March till 28th of June. जो ये 90 दिन थे, इन 90 दिनों में किसी को भी सरकार को कोई भी किसी प्रकार की लाइसेंस फी नहीं पे करनी, because it was a disaster phase. So those are your recovery strategies which the government implements so that the people who have undergone a disaster are able to come back to it. Now there is another diagram which I saw, which I really wanted to share with you, but I don't know if I should share with you or not. A little. I think that I will give it in a PDF and then you can have it and we'll talk about it later. I want to call it a day from here. From when we come back tomorrow, we are going to take specific episodes of, first we'll talk about the NDMA, then we talk of the the National Disaster Management Force. We will talk about the 10 points of Prime Minister Modi, which he has highlighted regarding disasters. We will talk all about that and we'll take specific episodes tomorrow. Hopefully there won't be any broad disaster and we will be able to do better. Thank you so much for your time. And I want to really apologize. It must be so upsetting that in the first phase, we are trying to teach you and we're not able to teach you. I think that it kind of goes with the disaster management that we are talking about. We'll call it a day from there. If you have any remarks, you can put it down. I'll try to get back onto it. और क्योंकि हम लोग इतना खराब हालत में गए, तो I'll try and make it up to you. मैं सारी definitions आपको PDF में डाल के दे दूंगी and those can be uploaded so that there is no confusion. अगर आज की क्लास में आपको कोई चीज समझ नहीं आई होगी तो वो आपको उस PDF डॉक्यूमेंट में बिल्कुल मिल जाएगी. Thank you so much for your time.